You know, the National Association of Realtors, one of the most powerful trade groups in the country, has been through some seriously tumultuous times. But new leadership is here, and with it comes a whole new plan. So let's break down what that really means for the real estate industry.
And this quote, it just nails the scale of the challenge, right? For the last couple of years, the mission has been all about wrestling with the wheel of that massive cargo ship, trying to navigate it through a huge storm. It has been a monumental task, really, just focused on stabilization.
Okay, so the ship is steady. Now it's time for a new captain to take the helm. Let's meet the person who's been tasked with steering NAB forward.
And that new captain is Kevin Brown. He's officially stepped into the role of NAR president. Now, his one-year term comes right after the unusually long, nearly two-year term of his predecessor, Kevin Sears, who was laser-focused on that crucial stabilization mission.
And this is what that mission was all about, getting back to basics. The previous leadership had to steady the organization, get the finances in order, roll out these massive changes to business practices, and just begin to rebuild confidence. The goal was pure survival and stability.
All right, so the foundation is stable, the focus can finally shift. So who is the new president, Kevin Brown?
Well, Kevin Brown is a realtor from beautiful Lake Tahoe, California. His expertise covers both commercial and residential real estate. But what's really interesting about him is his long-standing focus on real estate as an investment, especially in the multifamily market, which he invests in right alongside his brother.
And this whole philosophy, it came from his dad on day one of his career. It basically became his guiding principle. Commissions are great, they pay the bills, but it's your investments that are going to build that long-term wealth.
And man, did he take that advice to heart. Get this, before he even bought a house for himself, he and his brother bought a duplex as an investment. I mean, that tells you everything about his core belief in the wealth-building power of property, and that's a belief that's for sure going to shape his presidency.
Okay, so you've got a leader who is literally invested in the industry, personally and professionally. So what's the new plan? Let's see how it builds on all the work that's already been done.
Well, in his own words, if the last 2 years were about getting back to basics, his mission is to get back to business. And that signals a huge pivot from internal crisis management to external, member-focused action. And here's the roadmap. It's a new 3-year strategic plan, and it's built on 4 key pillars. First, modernizing NAR for the 21st century. Second, really boosting engagement with brokers. Third, focusing on the stuff members actually care about day-to-day. And finally, making sure the staff is accountable and performing.
But here's the bottom line. All of these big strategic ideas, they're all designed to do one thing: help realtors execute deals and get to their next transaction. That's it. For members, this means the focus is shifting right back to their bottom line. It's a really practical, results-driven agenda.
And you know, at the very heart of that goal is tackling the single biggest problem in the market today, the insane lack of housing inventory.
So what's really cool here is their two-front strategy. On one side, at the state and local level, they're providing resources to fight anti-development measures. But at the same time, on the federal level, they're pushing hard for this More Homes on the Market Act, which wants to increase the capital gains tax exclusion for homeowners when they sell. Okay, so why is that capital gains thing such a big deal? Well, get this number. 29 million homeowners in America, that's about a third of all of them, are basically locked into their current homes. Selling would trigger a massive tax bill because they've built up so much equity that the current tax break just doesn't cut it anymore.
And this quote from Brown, it just cuts right through all the noise. He's basically saying one of the fastest ways to boost housing supply doesn't involve a single hammer or nail. By simply changing a law, by raising that capital gains exclusion, Congress could immediately unleash a wave of new inventory as those 29 million homeowners finally feel free to sell.
Now, a bold plan like this, it needs more than just a good strategy, right? It needs a certain style of leadership. So let's dig into the philosophy that's going to guide President Brown's term.
So Brown's whole approach is about collaboration. He's a big believer in what he calls dispassionate critical thinking, and he's planning to spend his term just listening to everyone, from individual members to the heads of major brokerages, even the people he might not agree with.
And that right there, that's the core of his whole method. He believes passion is great, but sometimes it can get in the way. To make the best calls for an organization this huge and diverse, you have to kind of step back, listen without your own bias, and really let all the different ideas sink in before you make a decision.
So all of this leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? After all that chaos of righting the ship, NAR has a new captain with a clear plan to get back to business, a major focus on unlocking inventory, and a promise to lead by listening. The question isn't just if this marks a new era for realtors, it's what does a more stable, business-focused NAR mean for the future of how all of us buy and sell our homes?